welcome to a daily dose of joy. Where we cozy up in the morning together to play with the microdosing tools. Think of them as like little games, little playful things, not work or even tools, if tools reference for you guys like something that you fix something with. But if it's a tool like a paintbrush or something you create with, okay. And so the tool I want to talk about and use today is the Slo Mo Flow. It's a wonderful tool for increasing the dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, those dose chemistries, dose neurotransmitters in our brain. And it's one of the ones I use throughout my day. One of the microdosing tools I probably use most often. And I wanted to talk about that when I present it for the hotline. I always suggest people do 5 minutes because that's a nice window for checking in on a call. But even there, you could log in for a 3-minute Slo Mo Flow with a buddy. So a Slo Mo Flow can be 60 seconds. It can be 20 minutes. The 5 minutes is to give you just sort of a window, and you definitely get activation in 5 minutes. But as you progress along, or depending on the situation you're in, you may be able to activate some positive neurotransmitters in just a very short amount of time. And at the very least, activate the beginning of activating your parasympathetic nervous system. So that you're changing your momentum towards joy and ease. Examples. So I want to give y'all some examples of how I use the Slo Mo Flow. It's my biggest helper in learning to build in pauses and rest throughout my day. Pauses and rest are something the most dynamic, successful, fully scheduled people do. And some people live at that dynamic, but it becomes a hustle and a race and an adrenaline-induced thing. But some people do it with pauses all throughout their day that anchor them in their well-being. Anchor them in their well-being. And that is what I aspire to do all throughout my day. And all the microdosing tools help me to pause throughout my day on the fly, anchor into my well-being. And they have different slight nuances that I use at different times. This morning, I used the Slo Mo Flow for about 30 seconds, just to help me be present. There was a little chore that came up before I could get on with you guys, and I needed to take care of a little chore, but I didn't want to just rush through the chore to get here. I wanted to be present. So the Slo Mo Flow is at its very heart a presence practice, just pausing and being present and slowing down. So I took maybe 6 breaths, and I used a little saying that I often use that I've shared in slow-mos in the past, which is, I am here now in this. And I take a breath after each word. And that helps just clarify my point of focus, to being present in the moment. And then I just stood there in the kitchen in silence, listened to the silence for maybe another few seconds. And then I engaged in the task at hand, and I used another microdosing tool. While I was engaging in that task, I sang the dose ditty that I've been reviewing with you guys these last few times. This is the one that goes, every day a new adventure, every day a new beginning. I knew that this little task, this little challenge that had come up, that I could do it with ease. And so I paused and set my intention about how I was going to do the task, and I was going to be present and not rush. And then I brought this joyful song into the executing of the task, and and some humor too. So if y'all want to know, this is my sweet son was up very early with me this morning and went outside to go run and get something and ran back inside. He was trying to get off to early morning football practice. And he tracked puppy poop through the house. And he got the bulk of it, but they asked if I could help so he could leave on time. And because he really was trying to go for some early stuff. I mean, before sunlight kind of stuff. And so I was like, you got it, buddy. But it really helped for me to not just rush. It sounds crazy, but it ended up being a lot of laughs and easy peasy. And it got taken care of pretty quickly. So I hope that wasn't TMI, but that's like just an example of how I use the Slo Mo Flow. And by the way, I wasn't doing it over I was standing in the other room when I took my couple of breaths of like, oh, because I was doing something and I realized, oh, I need to shift gears, help take care of this. And it was lovely. It was great. And my joyful morning demeanor was able to continue and flow, and as well as stay on a pretty clear schedule, because when I'm in flow and feeling good, like time expands and synchronicities happen so that everything sort of works out. So I hope that's helpful. Just thought I'd spend a little time this morning giving an example of how I use Slo Mo flows on the fly, sometimes in very brief little windows of pause it was just pausing for those breaths for rest and helping me clarify my point of focus to be present in the moment instead of rushing. I hope it helps you. And now we'll step into our own Slo Mo Flow. And this one we'll do for 5 minutes and really let ourselves sink into the feeling. Pause, rest, and ease. take 3 solidarity breaths together. Just celebrating and letting that sensation sink in. Very good, very good. Oh boy, feels wonderful. May today surprise and delight us. And I look forward to spending this time with you guys again tomorrow. See you then.